argue that middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. Great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. They should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
That's a lot of writing. Hold on, I'm just going to get my glasses. All right, here we go. Here's what you're missing. America allows, all caps, Canada to trade with them. We don't need, again with the all caps, anything Canada has. 75% of Canada's products come here. Only 14% of ours go to Canada. First of all, I think you're having problems with the math there, hun. But second of all, let me just get my book because I have some things I need to discuss. On the math part, here's the problem. It seems like you're selling an awful lot to Canada, right? So we're buying a lot of your product. So it seems as though it's going well for you. Do you also understand that a trade deficit, just because we're a teeny tiny population, isn't the same as a subsidy? You've looked up those words? Are you sure? Can you have somebody read them to you? Once you do that, can you get somebody to read them to Trump? Okay, here we go. What do you guys need from Canada? Number one, by the sounds of it, eggs. You guys are asking a lot of countries for eggs, so, I mean, maybe that's just temporary. I don't know. Number two, water. Fresh water? Even Donnie himself talked about the faucet. In the tap, we just turn it on and off. Easy come, easy go. Neither here nor there. Number three, oil. You haven't done your research there, right? You think drill, baby, drill is going to pull you out of it. You don't understand that the crude oil that we have, that we send down incredibly cheaply, is actually the type of oil that you built all of your refineries on the basis of. So in order to go Canada oil free, you need a complete overhaul of your infrastructure. Do you understand the word infrastructure? I'll spell it later. Number five, the Arctic. Lots of resources, right? A huge transportation, right? You understand that? And also, that's probably where the aliens are buried, if you want to find those at all. Wood, lumber. Do yourself a favor. Look at a topographical map of Canada, the United States, and look at our lumber per capita. We have so much of it. I should just be sitting on any piece of lumber now. Wood should surround us all in Canada, right? $7.5 billion we've sent you. And here's where size does matter, love, because you don't even come close. You could cut it all down. To heck with the environment, as your people say, and you still wouldn't even get to a fraction of what we have. You guys like to talk a lot about you protecting us. Protecting us from who? Who's attacked us? Hold on. Can I hear? No. Oh, no one? No one. But the last time you were attacked, as I recall, 9/11, what did we do? We rallied. We went to Afghanistan to protect, to protect you. Right, because you have the audacity of sticking your nose around the world and then being shocked when they fire back. That was us helping you. Fantastic. Number 8, potash. Do you know what it is? I didn't know what it was until like 3 weeks ago either. But from what I understand, we have a boatload of it. You have next to none. And you need it as fertilizer to actually help your crops grow. I thought RFK was into that, right? Or is he just against the red dye and then everything else is fine? Is Elon going to get something from Mars? You might want to look into that. Also, this is a big one. We owe $350 billion your debt. We're going to make a few trades for that. I'm thinking Universal, I'm thinking Disney World, because you guys are blowing it down there anyways. I'm just going to take them over. We're going to have a later list of demands, so feel free to inquire about that. And finally, aluminum and I know people say that different. Aluminum and steel. Question. Do you know that you've tried this tariff game on aluminum and steel before? You have. He tried to put 25% on aluminum and steel before. You know what it did? It almost collapsed your industry. Oh, maybe I'm a little worried because the failure of that, the abject, embarrassing failure of that, maybe his inability to acknowledge it isn't just a sign of stupidity and not caring about your actual economic system. Maybe it's a sign of, I don't know, dementia? All the best, love.
Hello guys, welcome to the Real Whitelist. My name is Betty. So, when Donald Trump said America doesn't need Canada, many Canadians immediately disagreed.
Guys, if you just stay really quiet and go outside for a second, you can literally hear Canada laughing at us right now. Listen.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon. Bonjour, Canada. I must tell you, I took 4 years of French in school. First time I attempted to make a speech in French, I was laughed at. So that's as good as I can get right now. But seriously, thank you very, very much. Speaker of the House of Commons, Speaker of the Senate, members of the Parliament, thank you for the very kind welcome, my wife and I. Prime Minister Trudeau, you were my first meeting with a foreign leader just 1 month after my presidency during the hardest days of COVID-19. We had to make a visit virtual, but since then, we've been all over the world taking on some of the toughest issues our nations have faced in a very long time. I want to thank you for your partnership and for your personal friendship. I thank you very much. Joe and I are grateful for the hospitality you and Sophie have shown us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have the opportunity to uphold a tradition carried out by so many of my predecessors in addressing the hallowed halls of the Canadian democracy, although this is a different hall. You've done a hell of a job here. This is really beautiful. It's really very beautiful. This is a custom that speaks to the closeness of our relationship. Americans and Canadians are two people, two countries, in my view, sharing one heart. It's a personal connection. No two nations on earth are bound by such close ties, friendship, family, commerce, and culture. Our labor unions cross borders. So do our sports leagues. Baseball, basketball, hockey. Listen to this, hockey. I have to say, I like your teams except the Leafs. Tell you what. I'll tell you why. They beat the Flyers back in January, that's why. And if I didn't see that, I married a Philly girl. If I didn't say that, I'd be sleeping alone, fellas. I like you, but not that much. It can be easy to take a partnership between Canada and the United States as a given. And but when you stop and think about it, it's really a wonder. 5,552-mile-long border, more than 8,800 kilometers, defined by peaceful commerce, trading relationships that measure more than $2.5 billion a day,
At first, it sounded like just another political statement, but as trade tensions grew and Canadians started boycotting some American products, many people began asking a different question. What if the United States actually needs Canada more than it wants to admit?
But the situation in Canada is absolutely dire. For Americans who don't know, the housing crisis here is worse than in the United States. I lived in LA for 6 years, and I have not faced rent as bad as here. If I've ever entertained or educated you, I could use your help finding work in Canada. I can't be in the United States anymore. It's not safe for trans people, for gender non-conforming people, for people who don't agree with the regime and have spoken out publicly against it. I am a researcher of the far right. I am sitting on 10 months of rare and priceless ethnographic data on a violent Christian nationalist church. I have not had time to analyze it yet because I've been so busy waking up with this weight on my chest and frantically needing to go. Go before it gets worse. I was wrestling with what my crystal knocked was going to be, what was my moment where I had to go. And it was the Charlie Kirk assassination, and seeing that now they're blaming trans people for shit that cisgender people do. Like, I have to go. I have to go. And I need your help to do that. I'm looking for work in Canada. I have a lot of job skills and I'm a hard worker. I would ideally like to be attached to a university. I am an excellent qualitative researcher. I can do interviews and participant observation. That's what my dissertation research is. And I can also design surveys. But if that's not possible, I can also do crisis intervention. I did crisis intervention and shelter work and advocacy for 6 years. I've also worked in elementary schools as a teacher. But like literally I'll do anything. I will do anything. I'm good with people. So if you have work that is LIMA, as in they are open to foreign workers applying, please DM me. I need work in Canada in order to be able to move there. I can't move there without a work visa. I think I'm too far along in my PhD to start over as a master's. I have a master's already. Anyways, I'm sorry for the desperate tone of this message. It's because I am desperate and I'm terrified. It would be great if it was on the west side of Canada, but I understand that refugees don't get many choices, and I will take work anywhere I can find it. So if you have any ideas, please let me know, because I have to leave this country. Thank you.
One Canadian viewer recently left a comment that sparked a lot of discussion online. He argued that most people completely overlook how much the United States depend on Canadian resources.
What if Canada and Mexico joined forces to teach the U.S. a lesson? After a 25% U.S. tariff, America's neighbors finally say, enough. The era of taking Canada and Mexico for granted is over. Their plan? A Pan-American trade corridor that completely cuts out the United States. Canada strikes first. Canada shuts off the Northeast electricity grid. The result? Michigan, New York, and Minnesota all going dark in an instant. Wisconsin's entire energy supply disrupted. And then comes the oil shock. 4 million barrels of oil per day gone. Gas prices up 70 cents overnight. Mexico strikes next. Detroit's auto industry frozen without parts. Car prices through the roof. Ready for this? 1.2 million barrels of oil gone. Gas prices up by $1. Grocery bills doubled. Fresh produce disappeared. The U.S. choked from both ends. Total damage to U.S. economy over $400 billion. Could America possibly survive this? Or is the U.S. too big to fail? Comments below. Share with someone who needs to see this.
According to him, America has benefited from Canadian oil, electricity, uranium, and critical minerals for decades, often prices that helped American industries stay competitive. Take oil, for example. Canada is one of America's largest foreign supplies of crude oil. Millions of barrels cross the border every day. Canadians argue that as Canada expands trade opportunities with other countries, it gains more options and more leverage. In other words, Canada isn't as dependent on a single customer as it once was. Then there's electricity. Several American states receive power from Canada. Now, nobody is suggesting Canada is about to cut off electricity tomorrow, but the fact that these connections exist shows how deeply intertwined the two communities, the two countries really are. It's one of the reasons many Canadians reject the idea that America doesn't need them. The commenter also highlighted something many people never think about: uranium and medical isotopes. These materials play an important role in the energy production and modern healthcare. Most people don't see them, but they are part of the hidden infrastructure that keeps industries and hospitals running. And that's not all. Canada is rich in critical minerals, aluminium, potash, lumber, and other resources that are in high demand around the world. Canadians argue that these aren't just products, they are strategic assets that many countries would gladly purchase. But here's where the story becomes ironic. While some politicians insist America doesn't need Canada, many Americans are having a completely different conversation. Across social media, you'll find Americans complaining about rising costs, healthcare expenses, housing affordability, and political division. Some are even openly talking about moving to Canada. Think about that for a second. On one hand, politicians are saying America doesn't need Canada. On the other hand, some Americans are looking north and saying maybe Canada offers a better quality of life. Now, whether those people actually move on is another story, but the contradiction is hard to ignore. That's why comments like "America doesn't need Canada" create such a strong reaction. Canadians look at oil, the electricity, the uranium, the critical materials, and the trade relationship that has been built over decades, and they come to a very different conclusion. Maybe the real lesson here isn't that one country needs the other more. Maybe it's that after generations of trade and cooperation, the two countries have become so connected that neither can simply pretend the other doesn't matter. And that's exactly why so many Canadians believe Trump got this one wrong. So guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been The Real What List. Please kindly consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. For those who have, thank you so much, guys.